In this demo video, I'm going to show you how to populate the payroll register. And before, in the previous video, demo video 8, I showed you how to populate the employee's earnings record. Now, this is individually populated for each employee. For the payroll register, this gives the employer to be able to view all the employees at once instead of individually going into each employee's record and obtaining detail that way. So in this situation, we're going to go ahead and look at information from video 2 and video 8. And I already have this information here that I had from the previous video in demo video 2 and demo video 8. So that's the information I'm going to be using because I'm going to be populating the payroll register with Shelley Brothers, Don Belden, Alex Donaldson, Jason Kindler, and Sam Wilder. Remember what we did individually here. Okay, so as you can see in the previous video, that's what we did. So in this video, I'm going to transfer all that information into one here. Okay. So let's go ahead and populate for Shelley Brothers, and this is going to be in alphabetical, 40 hours, $9.25 for regular rate. Her regular earnings is $370. Overtime hours, once again, is 6. Overtime rate is $13.88. Her overtime earnings for so far is $83.28 for total earnings of $453.28. I'm going to go ahead and drag down this formula so that when I go in and populate this information in here, it automatically calculates the total earnings for me. And once we're done, we can go back and double check the total gross pay on each one of these records so that we can verify to make sure that everything is correct. Second employee for Belden. $40 hours, $7.50. Regular earnings is $300. Okay. What I can actually really do is take this 40 hours times $7.50 for a total of $300. And then I can put 3 hours here and the rate of $11.25 here. And I can go ahead and take this and multiply it by the 3 hours to get the overtime earnings. And I can go ahead and populate that as well, that formula, so that when I go in and enter the information, it automatically populates everything for me, besides the hours and the rates for this. And I can actually even do this. I can take the rates. So what I can do is, this is $11.25. So what I can do is take that $7.50 times 1.5. And it should give me that $11.25, which is the overtime rate for Donald. Let's go ahead and drag that up there. $13.30. Okay, I'm going to drag it down. And that's going to also give me, okay, that's also going to give me the overtime rate for the formulas for each of these in here. So let's go ahead and populate our hours. It's going to be regular hours here for all the employees. The next one is going to be Donaldson. His regular rate is $21.75. He worked 9 hours of overtime. There's not enough room, so let's expand that. Okay, so far so good. Does it tie? Yes. Donald, gross pay 116367. There's a tiny little rounding error because of the formulas. And let's go ahead and I'm going to stop this. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go ahead and do some rounding functions, and then I'll be back. Okay, so what I did, and you don't have to do this because you can always do this by hand. What I did is I just put a round function in here. Okay, I told, if you look at my formula, I told Excel that I want you to round when you multiply $870, excuse me, the $21.75 times the 1.5, which is the overtime rate. I want you to round that rate to two decimal places, and that's what it did. So when that rounded to 2 decimal places, and when it calculated this total earnings for each employee, it rounded it to the correct gross pay amount, which ties to the $1,163.67 here. Let's go ahead and test theory for Kindler. I'm going to make sure it's calculating correctly. So Kindler had a regular earnings of $11, overtime hours of 5, and yep, what do you know? It correctly rounded everything correctly to the $522.50 for gross pay for Jason Kindler here. And last but not least, let's look at Wilder. 40 hours regular. He gets paid $19.35 per hour for a total of $744. And 13 hours he worked for overtime. And what do you know? Once again, it rounded to the 2 decimal places. And when we added, it basically added to the correct penny, $15.51.39. So my total gross pay or total earnings so far from all my employees is $3,624.59. Total overtimes is $870.59 here. Total regular earnings is $2,754. And that's how you populate the payroll register. If you have any questions about any of the formulas that I made, you can give me a call or email me, but the formulas that I've done in here are not required, and you are not required to know them. This is only for my demonstration purposes only. Good luck.